you?
Okay. So hello, everybody. You may have just heard or gotten a message that this meeting is being recorded. And again, my name is Laura Myers. I am your Zoom host, but I am not the chair of this committee. And I'd like to, Tori Bailey is the chair with Hugh Moore is the co-chair of the UNNC Homelessness Liaison Committee. Tonight I will be the moderator and might be a little interruptive as we start the beginning, but then I will let Tori be totally in charge with Hugh of this meeting. So Tori Bailey, if you'll introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you very much, Laura. My name is Tori Bailey. I am the elected homeless liaison for UNNC for the past 5 years now, I believe. And also the
Tori,
yes.
we can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you need to stay close to your mic, Tori.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Not
Yes.
well.
Okay. I was saying that I am Tori Bailey, the homeless liaison elected for CD10 UNNC for the past 5 years. And I'm also the coordinator of the homeless count for the past 8 to 10, I believe, at Holman United Methodist Church. I am so thankful that you guys all come on board tonight, and I am going to introduce a person who needs no introduction, our infamous consummate council member of CD10, Mark Ridley Thomas. And he has to leave at 7. So we kind of readjusted our agenda from our normal public comment. It will be afterwards, and the Q&A will be shortly after. So whenever he decides he's going to stop and take about 4 to 5 questions for Q&A, so we can get him off the call at 6:55 or so, and we're gonna stay on topic.
Tori, we still can't hear you.
Okay, we're gonna stay on topic of homelessness tonight with our questions and answers, and make sure that he can be out by 6:55. Is that? Can you all hear me?
Yes. And Tori, let me also, I'm going to interrupt just a little. May I ask that everybody be muted, and that for this meeting and other Zoom public meetings, please raise your hand and ask to be recognized through the use of the electronic. I think on most of yours right now, you'll click on reactions and you'll see a raised hand function. If you are unable to make your hand go up, please send a chat to the host, which would be me, or to Danielle. Please do not use the chat function to chat with other people, because this is a public meeting. And thank you. And Tori, I'm sending it back to you.
Okay. I hope I usually have no problems projecting. So I would like to introduce our wonderful guest tonight, which needs no introduction, but he is our infamous consummate council member of CD10, Mark Ridley Thomas. Let's give him an electronic hand and welcome him on the topic of homelessness and see where we can be of assistance to the entire project. Thank you, council member.
Well, thanks very much, Tori, and to Laura and to Hugh, to all of the members tonight. We are delighted to be here. If Tori had said that I was infamous one more time, I was going to get the right idea and keep it moving. I'm going to rifle through the points that I want to make to maximize the opportunity for you to ask a question, have a heart out at 6:55. This doesn't necessarily have to be the last time I interface with you, and so keep that in mind. It was on March the 3rd that the City Council unanimously approved my motion to establish a right to housing in the city of Los Angeles. Now, for me, That's in contrast to a right to a park bench, a right to the sidewalk. This means a right to a roof, a bed, a door. This means that which is to be supportive of the lives, the dignity, the purpose of those individuals who are homeless. The city council's team, the city's team, led by the housing department, and it's in collaboration with the chief legislative analyst and the city administrative officer, they're now developing what will be a proposed 5-year, a scale-up framework to establish this right to housing. That is to put meat on the bones, if I can say it that way, to deal with the issue of street engagement, interim housing, permanent housing, and prevention. 4 pieces. So again, street engagement, interim housing, permanent housing, and prevention. You might have noticed over the past week, we've made significant progress to advance 2 concrete related initiatives, which are tied to this right to housing. Street engagement being one. Is a big deal, unanimously approved by the board, by the city council this past Tuesday on the 14th of September. And then the Housing Now Fund, unanimously approved by the city council just 2 days ago. So we are moving this agenda forward because it's necessary. Well, what does that street strategy mean, Mr. Ridley Thomas? Well, the first of its kind in the city of Los Angeles. We standardize assessment of encampments, and then give an adequate period of dedicated street engagement at all sites where unsheltered people reside, and create a transparent and accountable process by which outreach teams work collaboratively to help unsheltered individuals transition into housing. What's the objective of street engagement? To get people housed, not to arrest them, but to house them. And then the Housing Now proposal is a collaboration ultimately between the city and the county, which would provide permanent housing, rental assistance coupled with supportive services for up to 10,000 people experiencing homelessness, including those with complex medical and behavioral health issues are concerned. So for us, successful street engagement depends on having a ready supply of affordable and permanent supportive housing to place unhoused clients without delay. So you can see how both of these components, street engagement and Housing Now, are interrelated. And so the report back on the right to housing on the 5-year framework, as well as reports on the progress of street engagement and Housing Now, will be heard at the future meetings of the Homelessness and Poverty Committee, which I have the privilege to chair. So we're leaning in. We're very deliberate about this. A lot of lifting, a lot of work. A shout out to the staff of CD10 led by the Chica Rakrima, ably assisted in that effort by her collaborators on the team with Fernando Emerson and Carly, who's the chief deputy. So a lot is going on homelessness. We had to do this. The city lacked a framework. We need to create a framework. And let me just say this for the record. The city and the county must work together in order for us to deal with homelessness in a real way. If that doesn't happen, Tori, if that doesn't happen, Hugh, if that doesn't happen, Laura, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be successful. Collaboration, city and county, critical.
Yes.
Then I want to talk about some pilot funded by CD10 Reimagined funds. So in addition to the broad policy work, I'm focused on modeling what can happen in this district. So since taking office not quite a year ago, we've engaged in street to home. And what that means is projects in deep coordination with community-based service providers, the people concerned, take note of their name. Hopics, take note of their name. PATH, and homeless healthcare. And we are seeing positive results. Uh, Over 40 people rehoused from Venice and David near Kaiser, West Los Angeles, where that huge encampment was under that overpass. We did that without any police action. We moved those persons into recently acquired motel through Project Home Key state-related funding, and we're proud of that. In Leimert Park, 75 people have been rehoused. We moved through there and said to those individuals, in the first instance with Venice and David, it was the people concerned. The second instance in Leimert Park, it was Hopics, and they have worked very, very hard. This street engagement is critically important. And more work is being done to make this real. And then at 6th and Berindo in Koreatown, 40 people rehoused. Now this is all hard work. I'm reading these numbers, 40, 75, 40, but I can't tell you how much work it requires on the part of a range of people in each one of these areas in different parts of the 10th district. The sociology, the culture, the dynamic differs, right? In the last instance, different from the earlier two examples, there was a matter of gang presence. And we only learned that through the street engagement process. And so what we have in some of these encampments will be gang members holding homeless persons hostage effectively so that they have cover for the work, the evil deeds that they're doing. What am I suggesting? Drug trafficking as well as human sex trafficking and sometimes of minors. And so we've been deep on this work, trying to construct models for how to do it. So we're designing a pilot to test mediation and additional tools to bolster street engagement. We are implementing intervention strategies as well for those who are engaged, youth at risk, involved in the life of gangs. We are trying to decriminalize this as effectively as possible, but when violence and other criminal activity is taking place, we then know what the necessary steps have to be. But we will exhaust every measure prior to that. And we're investing in prevention strategies by targeting zip codes most at risk of eviction and funding eviction defense services. We're doing that through legal aid and Asian Pacific Legal Senate Clinic. They have a rental assistance program that was made possible through funding from our Reimagine funds in CD 10. This is a fundamentally important work. I would also like to say, in partnership with Hopics and other nonprofits, we're piloting a recommendation of the ad hoc report on Black people experiencing homelessness and engaging trusted local businesses and like barbershops to intervene early with clients who might be at the risk of homelessness. So some of the work in terms of homeless advocacy and intervention and service provision is in fact to be innovative, to test various new strategies and scale up this work. And so we're focused on ensuring those who are housed remain housed and continue to remain housed, and hopefully they will thrive. So these intervention strategies are critical. And let me just hasten to talk about a program that I'm particularly excited about, the partnership with LA Rise to train and employ those who have transitioned out of homelessness. And so this is a really important piece of work. It's similar to what we did at the county Careers for a Cause, work to be invested in individuals who were homeless and then have the capacity to be employed and do work in the areas of homeless outreach, prevention, and intervention. So our hope is that all of these activities and more will make a dent so that fewer people will fall into homelessness every day and more people will exit homelessness every day. That's what we need to do. Right now, there are more people in the county of Los Angeles falling into homelessness than we're taking out. Now, what are the actual numbers? Approximately 207 falling out are brought out every day, 227 falling in. Did you hear me? We're taking on water. We've got to reverse that trend. So the goal is to create a community where homelessness is a very rare and yet brief occurrence. We're not Pollyannish about this. We're not idealistic without defense about it. We know that poverty is real. We know economic insecurity and food insecurity and housing vacancy crisis all are real. But we know that we have the obligation and the opportunity to do something about it. So in my view, those who call Los Angeles home can be here and pursue lives of dignity and work. And this is why I've decided to return to the Los Angeles City Council to put a shoulder in, to add to the work I did when I was on the Board of Supervisors. The city of Los Angeles, ladies and gentlemen, is the largest crisis point of homelessness in the entire county and by extension the entire state. We have an obligation to address this. I believe that we can, I believe that we should, and I'm pleased that we're well on our way with these new strategies, these new interventions, these new policies, and hopefully new money. Anybody who tells you you're going to work your way through the homeless crisis that we face without allocation of resources is not being honest with you. This will require resources. And I'm pleased that the governor of our state has made allocation of resources far and beyond that of any of his predecessors. And yet he has an obligation to do more. So with that, it's now 6:47, and that's my preliminary remarks. I'll take a few questions and get out of your hair.
Okay, so Tori, I know you probably have a question, and I would like to see if our co-chair who helped arrange this meeting, Hugh Moore, has a question. And if not, I do have a person who's already asked to be called on with a question.
Yeah,
So-
I have one in particular. I would like for us to work closer together because I have direct access right now to about 65 people, and they're being prepped for permanent housing. So I just would like to talk to the council member and see what the likelihood of us creating this innovative model that is in conjunction with what's going on now, and what's the likelihood of that. And the other question.
No, what, Tori, let's
That's
not,
fine.
yeah, let's not be greedy.
Laura, Dorit has a question after Hugh.
Okay, so,
There are two people on the call at minimum for my team, both Danielle and Roger, who you can follow up with the work on this, Tori. And then, of course, Dakshika Rakrima is the major policy quarterback on my team. We have a robust homeless team because it is my sense that that's what's required, and it's working, and we want it to work even more effectively. I'll take another question.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank
okay,
you.
Hugh, did you have a question?
So, Councilmember, the motion was passed.
Yes, sir.
The next step that we need to take to help the city council get this moving faster or make it become reality.
Hey, excellent question, Hugh. What I'd ask you to do is pay attention to the regularly scheduled meetings of the Homelessness and Poverty Committee. It meets every other Thursday morning at 10. Call in, pose questions, urge results in real time. Um, these are the things that can help. If your voices are heard, it helps me to make the case. And I'm very intent on doing that. So I appreciate that question. But if you would do that and pay close attention, any questions that we can answer for you, so that as you move about your respective communities and you do the work of UNNC, the level of knowledge and information as to what is going on and what should go on increases. So I thank you for that question.
Thank you.
So in order, if Dorit has a question, then Linnell Flemings, then Maria Stelly.
Council member, thank you. Thank you for speaking to us. And I want to give you a big old thank you for what you did when you were on the county regarding homelessness, especially Housing for Health, which is a game changer, like freaking awesome. Just
Thank you.
I've worked in homeless services for 30 years. Housing for Health is one of the most innovative things that's ever existed.
I agree.
My question, go ahead, sorry.
Say that we are replicating that or seeking to with Housing Now, which I made reference earlier. It is modeled after Housing for Health.
It's super duper, like, you understand, and that is so rare with a lot of electeds who just have skills in other places. Question, love that you're doing the streets to home, one encampment at a time, especially when we start with the big encampments, great idea. But especially in the UNNC footprint, we don't have the big, large encampments. We have more smaller groups of 6 to 8 people.
Yeah.
Could we have an access center? Could we have a navigation center, access center, like the old drop-in centers that we used to have before HUD stopped funding them with the Hearth Act? Could we just get an access center in our footprint, maybe in UNNC, so people who are just 1 or 2 people in an encampment could come, see a case manager, get a cup of coffee, do a CES, just get into the system before and not have to wait for the engagement teams to be able to go out to them, because we have so many people, especially people in their cars. I'll be quiet now because I know you only have 3 more minutes.
On next week, you'll be able to find both Danielle and Roger at the Homeless Hub for South Los Angeles, which was formerly the district office for CD10. We have transformed that into a homeless hub that will do precisely the things that you just made reference to, in addition to having as many as 15 outreach teams. And we're not focused on large encampments only, or small, large, and in between is what we will focus on. And so find your way to Danielle, find your way to Roger. They will be set up in that space, and it will evolve over the period of time in terms of the range of services and activities, but you'll be pleased to know that it's up and running. It's one of the first things I did when I returned to the city council, to say, let's use that facility for the purpose of focusing on homelessness throughout the 10th district, but most assuredly is proximate to the 4 regions or the several regions of United Neighborhood Councils, and we can get the business done. So show up, come by on 18th and Western, right there.
Is it a drop-in center or just a deployment center?
It's going to be both ultimately.
Thank
but
you,
we're
sir.
starting with deployment.
Okay, Linnell, do you have a microphone? Because again, it's not showing up.
Yes, I'm on the phone as well.
Perfect.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, council member, thank you. Thank you for your services and thank you for your return.
Yes, sir.
I have a question about the victims of mass incarceration over the last 4 years. I'm on inbetweenthebuildings.org, and they are becoming homeless within 6 months. So as the lady that spoke before me, I'm not making out her name, that was my question. A 24-hour resource center that we have victims on 76. Is it possible that could be put in and modeled after the YMCA on 28th and Central back in the 70s that took care of the community? because we have the vehicles to pick up the loaders. We have the dump trucks to pick up the trash in the alleys, but we have no direct pipeline to the city officials for the resources. We have the manpower. We have everything we need except for a hand with the financial building.
Staff is on the call listening very carefully. It seems to me that we should have a follow-up meeting, perhaps in the space that I'm referring to, so that we can talk more specifically about how we build out the infrastructure. Listen, I don't accept that the city has too few resources to make a difference on this. It's a question of what we do with the resources that we have. And I can tell you that we're going to lean in a very substantial way. You'll see Danielle's email address in the chat. I'll reach out to her and let's see if we can have a follow-up meeting over the next 30 days to kind of look at how we can put some legs underneath these ideas that are being suggested tonight. We can do this.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember, do you have time for that last question from Marius?
I'll take it, then I'll bounce.
Okay. Marius, you're up.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Councilman, for attending this meeting. Appreciate it. Yes, I'd like to ask you, what are you seeing as the biggest cause of homelessness? You mentioned the large amount of people that are going into homelessness. What are you seeing as the biggest cause, and what measures are being done to try and stem that?
Economic insecurity is documentably the primary contributing factor to homelessness in particularly our region, the real estate market being as hot as it was, it produced a considerable amount of wealth for a lot of people, but it also compounded the crisis of people who had less resources to fend for themselves, less purchasing power, the eviction rates as high as they were, and the like. Add to that the issue of mental health and substance use crisis. But the major contributing factor happens to be economic, and that says a lot. So what do we do about that? We deal with eviction defense. What do we do about that? We work on the issue of jobs and employment opportunities around the industries. That's what LA Rise is. That's what Careers for a Cause is. And so we keep grinding through this. But the first thing is to have the consciousness of what is going on. We have to build more affordable housing. And those who are on second chance after having been incarcerated, we have to push for them to be members of the workforce in earnest so that the community remains healthy in terms of all of the resources at its disposal. And I mean the human resources. So that's part of the answer, but failed policies, the lack of attention to this crisis that has been brewing for the last quarter of a century plus lands us where we are today.
Councilmember, we appreciate you immensely. Thank you for answering all those questions. I'm sure there'll be more to follow if we can follow with Danielle and Roger with other questions and a follow-up meeting within 30 days as you suggested. We appreciate those responses and the interaction. Thank you so much for attending today.
Thank you, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you very much. I have to go earn the rest of my my pay tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Well, we appreciate it.
All
And
right.
Danielle, are you or Roger staying on the call?
Thank you, Mark. Very good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Is Danielle still on, or Roger?
Danielle is still on, Roger's still on.
Okay, wonderful. Okay,
So-
normally we stay on point, on target with our time frame and the agenda, but we had marked until 7:15. So Danielle, I would like to hear what else is going on in office and what the goals are, and give us some feedback of what you feel that's interesting and something we can help with in the community.
Well, ultimately, I know our biggest, what we want people to do, the community to do, is to report any encampments that you see that pop up that are new to LA Hops. That's just our number one. You can always bring it up to our attention. Roger, he is our homeless engagement liaison. I always forget your title, Roger, but he's the one that directly works with the homeless service providers from our office, and he's in contact with them. And also he's the one that schedules sanitation for cleanups or spot cleaning. So we have that in our office. We definitely want to be aware of all these issues in our community, in our district. So we are open. Any emails coming in, we do respond to them. I can't think of any updates off the top of my head, Roger. I'm not sure if you have anything. I know the council member, our biggest thing that we just achieved was 6th and Berendo and Koreatown. And I know Roger can definitely speak more on that location.
So one of the biggest things that started this month in September, as of the 8th, was the comprehensive cleanups that have, always been presented in this very vile way. But, trust that CD10 is trying to set the standard of how we go ahead and do them. So we've established a good system that I think is a very humane approach to it, where we pretty much establish an outreach before we even go and touch an encampment or start to do spot cleanups. Once that is established, then we go ahead and, for health and safety purposes of the community, schedule spot cleanups and comprehensive cleanups going forward. This was crucial into the encampments over on 6th and Berendo. There were some extracurricular activities going on there because of gangs, so there had to be a little intervention. But the ultimate goal is to help people with services and keep law enforcement out of it as much as possible. That's one of the things that Mr. Ridley Thomas is very adamant about, that is our very last resort, is police enforcement. So we were able to house 43 people at that site without the involvement of police.
Oh, that's terrific, and that's the main goal. But for the sake of minimizing redundancy, I know that I have been submitting encampments to Leslie, and I had invited him on the call. I'm not sure if he's on or not. I'd have to look. But Leslie Shaw and the police and sanitation have been systematically going in a particular order to go and sanitize and clean up the encampments as well. So are you working closely with that group?
I'm on the ground, actually. Every Wednesday and Friday, we do the comprehensive cleanup. So I make sure that I'm there and making sure that things are going according to what we're telling you, you, the constituents, that it's going. So I am there to make sure that things are being done in a very humane way, and that, the people are being treated with compassion and dignity. It's not hard to, it's hard to displace people, but that's not what we're trying to do. So out of the 43 people in 6th and Berendo, I'm using this as a very good example because of the size of the encampment, no one got displaced. Everybody there ultimately ended up at Project Room Key, Project Home Key, or had a voucher and is now looking for a permanent place to live. That is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is not to displace people and move them into another district or somewhere else. It is, the buck stops here. We make sure that they get housed. That's the goal.
That's one of the main things. When people have vouchers, a lot of the landlords have been turning them away. So you're sticking with the people that have vouchers to ensure that they have permanent placement, right?
So we have the outreach teams, and this is why it takes so long to get to all the encampments in CD10, because outreach teams they're stretched very thin right now. So outreach teams make sure that from day one, they follow through with these clients and then follow through with the housing. They have housing navigators that they work with. They have case managers that they hand them off to. It's a long process, and it doesn't end at the moment they get housed. If anything, that's where the journey starts, just to get people assimilated. So yeah, most of these outreach teams do stick through. I just make sure that, they have the resources that they need to get the job done right.
Okay. Did anyone else have any questions for Danielle or Roger? Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Danielle. Hugh, Pastor Chase?
Yeah, Laura does.
Okay, Laura.
And I might be naive about this. Do any of the teams work in the evenings, 8 till midnight? And I'm asking because I tend to be a person who goes to the 7-Eleven or the CVS or, at that hour. And I I know, I mean, there's certain people that I know are homeless. They're not in an encampment. They're over there and they're not necessarily begging for money. I mean, there's this one young man who, I don't know what he did in COVID, but what he's now doing is Winchell's, Subway, I mean, the 24-hour places, he just sits down and stays overnight. And then, you know, and everybody knows him. He's in the CVS chatting with the security guard. Is this anything that anyone does, or are we looking mostly at encampments?
So in cases like that, are we all familiar with the LA HOP system and how to input, you know, report someone that's experiencing homelessness into the system? So LA HOP is a great format to do that in, so that if it is just a single individual, we can, you know, put in an LA HOP, then LAHSA will dispatch someone to go out and outreach that person and make sure that they get in contact and offer them the services that they need. Or if it's not LAHSA, it's other outreach teams that are nearby the area that are assigned that area. There isn't an outreach team that's dedicated at the night. There are some weekend teams that go out there during the weekend, but at nighttime, there's nothing available. You know, as the council member touched on it, resources are very much needed. So hopefully one day soon. But LA HOP is a good tool to use for individuals such as that.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder. I did document LA HOPs, and that will be one of the focuses of our future meetings, so we can ensure that all our constituents will know how to actually initiate that process as well. Pastor Chase, did you have a question? You're on mute.
I know, I see that. Kim Watson does have a question.
I don't have a question.
Okay.
Hi, and thanks for pulling this together. This is really important. So my question is, what is the lag time between reporting to LAHSA, which I've done, and in the interim while waiting for someone, for a team to meet with this person or to follow up with this person? The lag time was so long. I mean, I'm talking 4, 5, 6 weeks that the person actually died in their RV fire. So do you have any data on the typical, lag time between reporting and someone from a team getting to actually meet someone?
Kim?
Yes.
LAHSA is going to present and do some Q&A with you next.
Oh.
So we have them on the line, and that may be a good
Great.
segue.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll go ahead. We have about 7 more minutes for Council Member Mark Ridley Thomas's staff. And any more questions for Mark Ridley Thomas's staff? And then we'll have LAHSA. Ms. Vanessa Gutierrez will come up next and ask particular questions that are in relation to LAHSA. And for those who don't know, LAHSA stands for Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority. Okay, so.
Okay.
Any more questions? Go ahead, Laura.
Tori, the only thing I want to ask you is if there are no questions for Danielle and Roger, did you want to do that 2-minute video as the break between, or do we want to just hold on that till some other time?
Mr. Chase said he had a question.
Who? Who did you say, Hugh?
Lewis Chase, I think he said he had a question.
No, he said he
No,
did
I don't have a question.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We are going to show a 2-minute video, and it was done by actor Sean Baker. And I just wanted to get some feedback on it at some point. It doesn't have to be tonight. And feel free to email me at any time at tori.bailey@unnc.org. And we'll follow up with whatever questions you may have. But we'll do a 2-minute video, and then Vanessa Gutierrez from LAHSA will be next in line.
Okay, so we're gonna do our best to do a 2-minute video. Is it up on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, well, let's just see.
Here are the facts. There are about 564,000 persons
Experiencing homelessness in the United States, 66,433 right here in Los Angeles.
I was one of them. I made this block and been keeping it safe for all y'all.
You all just drove right past and didn't do a thing. I can't do this.
He needed someone to let him know that his life is worth living, and that someone sure wasn't you.
I ain't running no more. Go! This man fought for us all, and we failed him. Have you been living at this bus stop?
LAPD, just want to talk to you about an incident that happened around here last night.
I can't wait to get these guys locked up behind bars.
The person living with a mental illness is more likely to be the victim.
Can you believe that? We got a crime fighter looking out for us.
I'm not homeless, unsheltered.
We got to do whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Do me a favor. Close your eyes.
And I'm so happy it worked.
Yes, I'm so happy it did also. That is a trailer that they sent to me last night. And so I said, how appropriate, perfect timing. But everyone's starting to take notice, get on board and doing something. So I guess that's part of a movie that is coming out soon. And I'll get more details from him later and keep you posted on when that's going to occur so we can support it and get more resources in to help with the situation, to be a solutionist, to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem, to have the compassion that's necessary, to just know that we care is all that some of them need and want. Okay, Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. All right. My name is Vanessa Gutierrez. I am the new Community Relations Coordinator for LASA for SPA 6. I'm still onboarding, just to be transparent with everybody. I've been here less than 3 weeks, so I'm not going to have all the answers for you, just being transparent, but I will do my best to give you the most updated information. And if I don't have the answers, I'll make sure I coordinate with the person who might and get back to you on that. So just to be transparent. And I will give you some quick updates on LASA's end. We do have the safe parking project. I'm not sure if everybody knows that we can schedule intakes, and we also have self-referrals for individuals who are needing to refer themselves to the safe parking. There's a self-referral now online. And we're also starting to coordinate for the homeless count, the Greater LA Los Angeles homeless count. The official launch date will be October 7th. The actual count days will be from January 25th through the 27th. SPA 6 will be January 27th at night. We are working with lead deployment sites at this time to coordinate more detailed information. But we are looking for volunteers and recruitment for, I'll be working specifically with SPA 6. So I will be working with HOPICS and other transitional age youth community resources that are being the lead deployment sites for those specific populations. But I do have different links that I will attach to the chat box of how you can volunteer your time. If you're willing to be a deployment site, or if you're willing to help coordinate any of those deployment sites, we're always looking for volunteers for that. We also have updates of how you can also donate. If you're not available with your schedule or your time, you can always contribute financially to help support some of these other resources that we're looking for homeless count. And then for those who don't know, the SPA 6 Homeless Coalition meetings occur every second Friday of the month. The next meeting will be on the 8th of October, and it starts from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. I will put my information in the chat. And if you are interested in attending that, you can let me know and I'll coordinate with the adult regional coordinator, Erica, over at Hopix, and make sure that you're invited to that calendar invite. And as this is my first meeting attending, I will take questions at this point. I'm not sure, Tori, what other updates you're wanting or anything like that. So you guys can go ahead and ask me questions at this time.
Well, did you answer Mr. Watson's question?
Here we go.
Could you restate your
It's not in the chat, Vanessa.
Okay.
He had asked the question earlier and then he got deflected to you about the lag time between a request and a visit, I think.
Right, but I don't know if that's self-reporting question or if they put them in LA Hopix to assistance. Which one? When you clarify, Mr. Watson?
Yes, that was with LASA. I had met over the course of my travels some of the street outreach folks, and they were lovely. However, as I stated, when I went and reported several homeless folks that I've been interacting with and trying to help, there was a lag time, and in fact, one of them never received a visit, despite repeated outreach on my part, and another one passed while waiting for that visit in a fire in her RV. I was curious about what the typical lag time is between the reporting of someone's needs and someone actually going to visit and assess the individual.
That's a great question. Thank you so much for reporting those reports and your concerns. And I'm glad that you brought this to our attention, because that's obviously not okay if people are passing away, waiting for services. So I think depending on what area they're in, depends on the wait time. If there's a large encampment site over there, obviously there's gonna be more time that they're gonna need. I don't specifically know that team's direct response time. I would imagine it would be at least 72 hours minimum, just because of the sheer population of LA. And that's probably best case scenario. But right now, because of COVID, I can't tell you if there's an exact specific timeline. I can follow up with somebody on that team, but also I would encourage you to use the 201 website, and you can also find the leads, the CES leads in the spa area that they're in. So even if you're not in South LA and you go to Santa Monica or maybe downtown, the CES access point directory would be a real beneficial to link them to the access center, so they actually can go and get those services they might be needing at that time.
So that's an alternative to the LASA site? Is that what you recommend?
Yes, I would recommend that. Is going to your nearest access center for the single adults and families and transitional age youth. And I can put that information in the chat as well. And it also has the websites, the phone numbers, and all the contact information that you might need for those individuals that you might be encountering.
Yeah, email that to me, Vanessa. But one thing we're gonna ramp up reporting as individuals to LA Hops, and if you want to, 211 does document. At least you'll have a number, a reference number that you can always go back to, to follow up. So that's
Right.
one thing we as individuals in the community could really, really be supportive with.
That would be great. And especially when we're doing hotspot planning and point of time planning as well with the homeless count, that would be a great resource for us to be able to capture those individuals in those locations and make sure that they're getting resources that they need.
What did you say? That was hotspot planning and what else?
And point of time and point of time. Yeah, the point of time homeless count. Those are when those reports come in, that gives us at least a red flag that there are individuals who are homeless in that area. And so that'll give us a report to go out there and check on them. Even though it's not going to be in the best timely manner, we'll still be able to have that data and that documentation to go and make sure that those resources have been provided to those individuals in those specific spaces.
Yeah, that'll be perfect. That'll be perfect. Any other hands up, Laura?
Yeah, my hand's up. Vanessa, could you put in the chat, first of all, the boundary between SPA 6? Now, I don't even know if you're on our southern side or northern side. So what is your northern boundary and what is your southern boundary? If you
That is-
know.
Give me
Well,
just-
in other words, I think we have 2 spas in UNNC, so I'm hoping you can post that into the chat if you, before this meeting is over. And also, if you're the right person for people to contact directly, if you would put in your contact info.
Could I answer the question about where the spas? It's Washington Boulevard.
Thank you.
Spa 4 is north of Washington, Spa 6 is south.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, LASA covers a vast area, but there are boundaries with the spas.
Right.
Mhm. So, but the real action item here for all of us is like, Laura, when you run into the gentleman at 7-Eleven again, ask them, does he want to have an outreach person contact him?
Okay, and you know, we've had this conversation before. It's so sad. Where I'm a little nervous about reaching out to him because I'm not sure of his mental status.
Okay, well, next time you there, you just let me
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Okay.
And there's a couple of people. I mean, I'm mentioning him, but the kid who was like 5 years old, grew up in the apartment building across the street from me. He's back. His family's not there. He's just sleeping on the lawn in front of the apartment building, and he is mentally ill. And he's a really nice kid, but he's like doesn't stay put except for at midnight. At this point, I can tell you where he is. And then there's an Asian American lady who I see both at the 7-Eleven and in front of CVS, and she wears high heels and she's dressed. I mean, you wouldn't know until you saw all of the things she's pushing around with her. And so, but you know, I'm personally not, I don't know.
That's not a given. That's not a given, but
Yeah, I'm personally not a person who can just go up to, I mean, I know that would surprise you since I yak with people all the time, but I'm not comfortable at 10 p.m. of doing that kind of yakking.
right. Okay. Any more questions for Vanessa? I can't see them all, so you have to help me out.
Oh, I'm not seeing any other hands either. Okay.
Okay, so Vanessa, with the mental status of the young man that Laura just described, what can the outreach team do for them, like in the next week or so?
That's again, I don't know their schedules.
No, we don't have to know schedules, but
Okay.
your reply should be, Tori. I will check in the office tomorrow and I'll get back to you within 48 hours.
Right. And noting it would be, yeah, based on what Dorit just said, every single person I'm describing would be SPA 4.
Okay, well, I did attach the CES access point directory for all of LA County. That should be in the chat box for you. And it'll help link any population to the resources that are near you. But another 2 links would be the 211, but also 1 degree. The number 1 degree helps that website helps any population countywide. And it doesn't matter what resources they need, they'll have it for veterans, for LGBTQ, for youth, for adults needing any type of resources that they might need, and then link them into housing as well. So usually when you go to the Access Center, they'll link you to all the DPSS, so CalFresh, they'll help you with documentation to get housing ready. They'll help you get linked to any mental health or physical or medical resources that you might need, as well as enrolling into the housing, the CES system for that housing assessment.
Right. So you make sure you send me all those on my email separate, from this chat. But also, as Council Member Ridley Thomas stated, there will be a homelessness hub at the Council Center at 1819 Southwestern. So let's keep that in mind. We do have direct access now if someone wants to walk someone in or just get the information so
Mhm.
we can be the advocates to help. This is a huge problem which is going to take everyone to do a little bit to go towards the solution.
And again, I can also provide the information to access volunteering for the homeless count for 2022. We need volunteers, and you all are the experts in the community, and you know where these individuals are. I would encourage you to participate in that so we can capture them and make sure that those outreach teams are seeing them, and they are going out there to link them to those resources that you all are concerned about that they're not receiving. So I would encourage you all to register and get involved into that. And the launch for the homeless count starts October 7th again. So we have some time to coordinate and get there and get those resources to them. So I'll send, who's the best person? Tori, are you the best person to send the email with all these? Okay.
I'm the coordinator, and Pastor Chase is on the line. He is the church outreach pastor.
Okay.
He is our outreach resource. But again, we were on a 3 o'clock call earlier, everyone, regarding the initial meeting of the coordinators for the homeless count. There are a few persons on this call that have actually participated with the homeless count, which is going to have to be totally different in structure this time because of the pandemic. But by January, who knows what has subsided by then. But January 27th would be our date for SPA 6 for Holman, for West Adams area. So
right, sorry, and sorry not to interrupt you, but to piggyback off of that, we do have a new app that we're going to be utilizing and going over on October 7th. We'll be discussing that more, but we'll have an app for us to utilize instead of the tallying and going out and counting one by one. We'll have it more mobile and more user-friendly to be COVID friendly and make sure everybody's safety is being considered as well.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So that'll be terrific. So maybe more participants will be involved and know they can stay in their own car and drive around and be assigned the areas that we average about 55 maps. 55, I believe 58 is the most we've had in the past, and we've done 100% of all maps at any given count. So we strive to make sure we do what we're supposed to do with what we're assigned. Now, Pastor Chase has a question, then Laura.
No, Kim has another question, and then I do.
Okay. Why was the green around him?
Okay.
Kim? Is he on mute?
Kim, you're muted.
Kim, you're muted.
Kim, you're muted. Oops.
Oh, he said, go ahead, next. He said, go ahead.
Oh, all right, go ahead. Then that'd be me, Laura.
Wait a minute,
Okay, so I'm not quite sure what you mean by it'll be totally reorganized. I mean, my understanding is in the past, you go online, you sign up to be in a certain location, and then you go to that location, then you go out in cars, and you count people, and you come back with your tally, and then there's people tallying. So I will say the first step of that interface where you're sitting at your desk and you're trying to sign up to participate with this one or that one or the other was also very confusing and difficult to get to where you wanted to be because the computer wanted you to be where you live.
Right.
That wasn't necessarily where a person wanted to be. So if it is going to be in person in some ways, count again. My input would be make it easier for people to sign up to go to the centers, to be involved with the center they want to be involved with. However, it's done on a computer.
Yes, we talked about that earlier on the 3 o'clock call, and that would be one of the first things that has to be
Yeah.
We had a tech support person on the line, and he was very clear that it would be better. And so this time we're not necessarily congregating like we usually do in one big hall. Everyone will be assigned already with their teams. That, say for instance, if I want to go count, then I will say, okay, Laura, Donna, we have a team already. So we'll come with that team already. It won't be about me assigning people to get in a car with someone else. So
Correct.
as we get closer,
Mhm.
I'll bring you more information because they're just now doing the first meeting October 7th. We had one today for the coordinators, but October 7th will be the official rollout
Right.
of instruction. So, and before, that's why you really needed a coordinator because of that system. We averaged about 200 volunteers almost every year. And the reason being is because I gave instruction to put 90018
Right.
as your zip code, as opposed to putting whatever your zip code where you actually lived. And that helped to bring more people to us directly. Yeah,
Right.
so
Well, Tori, I remember that. I mean, and I sent that message out to all the people I was trying to encourage because I always feel that an effort like this, people want to do it with people they know.
right.
You know.
That's correct. So Vanessa, that's something else you can reiterate when you get back to the office tomorrow to make sure that the registration process is streamlined.
Okay. So Kim's hand remains up.
And now I can speak. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. My apologies. Technical issue. But who provides oversight? It's very difficult to find out how the different agencies are doing in terms of effectiveness and best practices and who's really making a difference on the ground. So I'd like to know who's providing oversight for LASA, for 211 LA, and the various organizations and that are taking tax dollars and which are worth it as long as things are being done effectively and there's impact. So I'd like to know where we can point, where we can get data on that effectiveness, on that impact in real numbers.
Yeah, so I can gather the data. I mean, I'm not going to have real data right now at this time as we're coordinating for 2022 and we had COVID last year. So we have limited number and data because of the pandemic. But with this app, we're hoping that the data team can be a little bit more efficient and the data will be more accurate of where these people are. The oversight, you know, everybody, we all have supervisors. So I know that we're working very hardly on the government affairs teams to hire all community relations coordinators. This is a new department, so we can be the liaisons specifically with the neighborhood councils and council districts to build relationships all within our communities and within our service planning areas. So then we can go back to LASA and be the liaisons to communicate the barriers that have occurred before and bring them up to the table, identify different resources specifically to these areas so we can be more efficient overall. I mean, ultimately, that's the goal of what we're doing. And, you know, also I'm going to be attending various regional coordination meetings and being on homeless coalition meetings. So I'm going to be your point of contact to help communicate and coordinate these efforts and resources within the community.
So there's no autonomous arm or organization or mechanism.
I can give you the diplomatic answer.
To actually track.
The HUD ultimately tracks everything, which is a federal agency.
Give me the real one.
So we gather all the data from all the community providers and all the homeless counts and youth count and everything like that. And our data team, we submit all the information and then our data team does all the inputting and things like that. And they coordinate with the state agencies and federal agencies to make sure before they submit it out to everybody that there is that oversight and that we make sure that we collect all the data. If you want a better and more detailed information, I can link you to a data person that we work with and see if they can give you a more accurate information. But I know that's overall how the observing and holding accountability for making sure the data is being collected and provided to the participants who are helping with the homeless count.
We won't give you anything else to do, Kim. that is all on their website. Just go to lahsa.org.
There you go.
And if you and review, there is so much data and information
Yeah,
on
I've been
that
there
website. Huh?
many times.
Well, oh, okay. Well, if you have any further questions, feel free to ask me, and we'll talk about a lot of details and things that can be done different and give suggestions, because right now they're open for suggestions. Donna, did you have any question regarding anything any gaps in the system or things that may be going on with LAHSA, so Vanessa can share that with them as well?
Donna, me?
Yes, Donna, you.
Okay. The only question I have is, as of the 30th of September, how do encampments on the sidewalk change? I'd like to know what is going to happen from that step on. We have one at 28th and Crenshaw that now has a store functioning next to the Taco Bell.
Yes.
And what they're selling, it scares me. But right now, there's just a few people still there. They've probably been offered housing, a lot of them, but then there's still a group, and there's a pop-up store functioning on the sidewalk. This has been reported probably, well, Tori, you've reported it several times. And
yeah, they have photos and everything that's been submitted. They have everything
has been done.
Yes.
So my question, after the 30th of September, City Council has something that's going to change regarding camping on the sidewalk, or I'm not sure. I'd like to know an answer about that. That's the main thing I'm interested in. And the concern about them obviously selling drugs from a pop-up tent, and no one's doing anything.
Go ahead, Vanessa, if you want to tackle that one. But unfortunately, or fortunately, they're not supposed to be obstructing any portion of a sidewalk where you cannot go through with a wheelchair, on foot, or none of the sidewalk is supposed to be obstructed. So now that it's I don't know if it's considered an ordinance or law, initiative, I'm not sure which one they passed it as. I gotta double check that. It depends on what it is who will be the regulator. So if it's a law, it'll be 9 times out of 10 be LAPD. If it's an ordinance, 9 times out of 10 is going to be our city council office and their outreach team in conjunction with LAHSA. So we have to see exactly how they have that written and who will be the enforcer. But I can tell you for sure that though that particular spot is on the, I hate to say target list, but they are on the list to be cleaned up in totality. And they have photos and everything. So everything is still moving right along. It's just a process. And so, yeah, I'll be following up with that again this week, probably tomorrow when I talk to Lester.
One more question. As far as Carson Gore School at the corner of Washington and Arlington, there is an elementary. There were 5 mobile homes, 3 parked directly in front of the school and 2 steps from the school at 3rd Avenue. I reached out to the neighborhood prosecutors and they told me that was not something that they were doing anything about. You're allowed to park a mobile home and live in it next to an elementary school or a park. That seems very unsafe. I thought that was included in whatever they were doing. I did reach out to the SLO. After some shaming, he took care of it. I just wanted you to know, and I have huge concerns about mobile homes being next to elementary schools.
Vanessa, that's something.
It falls under the same ordinance, just as Tori was saying. It's part of the street encampment cleanup. We are working with the city and county to ensure that we're giving these individuals resources before we're providing any type of cleanup and linking them to resources. But yes, it will be part of that, the new ordinance that was in place. Schools, in sitting or laying in front of the hydrant, fire hydrant. There's a lot of different things. I would encourage you to do more research online about it if you're concerned about it, and then that would be the appropriate party. I believe would be either law enforcement or 211 might have it. Tori, do you have any other better resources?
I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna pull that one in particular next to schools, because that's always been a rule from the beginning. That was always a hazard, and that has always been written that they had to be so many feet away from a school. So
Right.
I must follow up and see who is going to enforce that, and that's something that we can all report to 211 as well, because it'll be documented and it goes to the city, and they do analyze and keep numbers on those stats. So
It was
again,
wasted time calling anyone but the SLO. And I
Oh,
had
no,
to call him about 4 times. But
well,
I was going, if I had to do something about it, those kids were not going to be put in jeopardy with
right,
5 mobile homes next to an elementary school.
right, yeah. I know I'd be livid if I was a parent, but to for something like that. But again, they're all gone now, right, Donna?
You know me better than that.
They're all gone now, everybody. so we'll
If I had to drive them away, they would be gone.
Right. But I'm gonna follow up and see exactly what it says. And everything is a moving wheel right now because of this pandemic. Everything has changed from what it normally was and what we actually knew. So now I have to see who's enforcing what, when are they enforcing, how and what. And so now everything becomes shifted priority. And so I will follow up, and I'll follow up with you and follow up with Vanessa to see what is actually the thing to do now. So, and to enforce it as well. Always when it's more than one complaining, things do seem to get done. The more the merrier. But I'll go over there and look and see exactly where you're speaking of. If it's one side in particular, or did they move around the corner? So sometimes they move from one spot and just go right around the corner to another. So we'll follow up on that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dorit, I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm thinking about LA Hops. Probably next meeting we'll talk more about that and get some details on how the community could be more proactive and assisting us with this ongoing endeavor.
I'm more than happy to give another little tutorial on doing an LA hop. And Vanessa, don't listen to this, but frankly, the more details anyone puts in an LA hop of the vulnerability of the person experiencing homelessness, the more likely and quicker somebody is going to go out.
Right.
You'll get an email back from LASA when you put in the LA hop. If it's SPA 6, which is the other side, the south side of Washington, you can send that to Vanessa. If it's in SPA 4, if you want to send it to me, depending what area it is, I can send it to, I'll send that email to it probably going to be the people concerned and ask them, I'll send it under Sela's name and ask them to please take a look or please go out. And I want to let people know, just because usually within a week, somebody does go out from an LA HOP request. It does happen, but not all the time does somebody respond to it. Like, you can go out to an RV and knock, 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 or the outreach workers will go knock, knock, knock on the RV. Somebody might not answer the door in the RV. So they'll give it up to 3 times to try to contact that person. And after they've contacted the person, they'll send you back an email saying they made contact. Or if they've given it 3 times and that person isn't responsive, then they'll also say that they're now closing that order. But you can always do another LA HOP later. It's always best to clear it with the person when you're able to, that do they want an LA HOP done for them? It just always is better. That's just a little thing, and I'll happily
so
do another tutorial.
We'll dedicate next month's meeting to LA HOP and the process and the procedure, because if you're getting a response time within a week's period of time, then that's good timing under the circumstances of how many people that's actually being serviced at this time. Anything else? Thank you so much, Vanessa, for participating and responding, and we look forward to you sending us some feedback on some of the questions that were asked and giving the suggestions to LASA for improvement, of course, enhancing what's being done now.
Of course, and thank you all so much. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tori.
No, go ahead.
And I'm here to be a representative for LASA in these spaces. So I know there's a lot of different other, maybe neighborhood council meetings that you participate in or know of. Please send me that information. If they're all virtual, I have none of that information. So I'd love to have you all help me get connected to the community so I can help be there at the forefront with you all and get you connected to the resources and address the issues that we need in our service area.
Yes. How many neighborhood councils we have now, Laura? There is
there are 99 neighborhood councils in the entire city. There is a Congress of Neighborhoods this Saturday, virtual. So Vanessa, I think you put your email in the chat, so I will send you that information. To stay in touch with UNNC, the easiest thing for you or anybody else on this call to do would be to go to our website, UNNC.org. So it's United Neighborhoods, neighborhoodcouncil.org, and sign up for our e-blast, because we will send out all of the, maybe more emails than you want, maybe not, but depending on how busy we are, but at least for sure every week the meetings of that week. So there, we have a broad variety of meetings, but they might be of interest, or certainly come to governing board and poke your head in and introduce yourself in the upfront initial public remarks time.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. And speaking of public comment, we were in reverse today of our natural order of these meetings. We have about 11 minutes left, and I would like to extend, does anyone have any public comment that relates to anything other than what's on the agenda? I can't see hands, Laura, so.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing any hands. I would have told you. Nobody has their hand. Would have told you. So, no.
Okay. So being there's no public comment, I would like to see a portion of these questions and Q&A in the newsletter and extend a hand to the community of how they would like to participate in the endeavors of helping us to eradicate homelessness within the footprint of UNNC. Not only that, I would really like to see an announcement made that there will be a homelessness hub at
Mhm.
1819 Southwestern.
Yeah.
I would,
So
yeah.
I will, Tori, I'll follow up on that directly with the council office. And then I guess I would put out, we're not UNNC, we're not very good at writing news articles, but we like it when people write little news articles that we can both post on the website and or send out in an e-blast or do a one paragraph in the e-blast that links to a story we have on the website. And we've run a couple of stories, just about efforts to solve we're never going to solve it one by one of us, but solve the homelessness crisis and other stories. I mean, recently we had a story on how to go vote and where to go vote for the election. So, and that just came in over the transom from one of our residents. So I invite people to write articles that they would propose, short articles, not long, propose to go on the website. And you would just send that to president@unnc.org, and we'll get it out for discussion and editing with the communications team of UNNC. So,
okay, Hugh Moore, do you have any last minute comments or updates or?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Thank you. Oh, so you're all happy. I'm glad to hear that there's no issues currently that have been directly impacting your area. But I'd like to extend, I'll probably do an article this particular time, but definitely a e-blast regarding the hub and how the community could be more impactful or inclusive or of coming up with solutions. And I do believe that we in UNNC could eradicate homelessness within our footprint. And it's just a matter of one council area and one spa at a time, and everybody help each other. And now that they're really doing permanent housing and placement, I am involved directly with about 64 women and a couple of men. It seems these men are getting help quicker than the women as far as placement is concerned, but I can't truly say that's a fact, but it appears to be that way. But right now they've taken them on a couple of tours to actually see a couple of brand new places where they will be placed in permanent housing. The goal is December 8th. And so that's promising. And just to see how that strategy is moving right along, how those steps are moving slowly but surely. I have my concerns with a couple of them being able to live on their own, but as long as they get the resources and the support that's needed and someone checks on them and they don't have gas stoves, I guess I'll be okay. But we all have to be a part of the solution. And I'm looking forward to the day when everybody feels like it is our responsibility to look on behalf of one another. It's not normal to step over people on sidewalks. It's just not. And it just seems like we have lost that humanity of concern. And I'd like to see the fire put under it again, where we can eliminate those with the drug and alcohol problem and put them in a place where they can actually get help. So with that in mind, there's one more announcement I'd like to say, that if anyone has any donations of bulky items at this time, one of the resources that I had, they're not accepting furniture momentarily, again, because of the pandemic, but still are receiving. I took dishes, sets of dishes, some beautiful dishes that someone had donated to me down there. So when the women, if they need dishes, when they're going into permanent supportive housing, then they'll have some of these items and they don't have to go shopping or with something that they don't have anyway to shop with. So dishes and clothing items are still being accepted, or anything household items that anyone could use. So right now, I'm gonna just have them put a little wish list together, and as they move into their place, then they get the items that they wish for. So with that in mind, we have 5 more minutes and we adjourn at 8 o'clock. Are there any last minute questions or concerns?
Can I pipe
Sorry,
in? Oh,
Kim has his hand up, and then I have a question.
thanks, guys. I don't even know if I'm on video, but you don't need to look at me anyway. But thank you for this, for arranging this, number one. Really appreciate it. And I'd like to steer everybody, if they don't mind, to Kim Watson Art on Instagram. And that is where you'll find some portraits and information about individuals in the community here between Santa Monica and Skid Row and all around, and around the corner where I have a few friends that live on the street. So please, that's
Kim, if you could, Kim, could you just chat it to me and then I'll repost it to everyone?
I will. Thank you, Laura. Because I think it's important that we start to put human faces, like individual stories and narratives with our homeless, so we can really understand who these people are, who our neighbors are.
Oh, oh yeah, that would be fantastic. You know, I had asked this young couple. Now, this is a good story to end on. I thank you for reminding me of that. But we had a young couple, and oh my God, I'm not going to reveal because some people on this call may know who they are. But oh my God, it's such a wonderful story. They, a couple met each other. One was living somewhere on Skid Row, and the other one was living somewhere on Skid Row. Well, they came together doing a community project, and he just had already shut down and prayed for days, months, hours. He said to the point where his family thought he had lost his mind, literally. He said, so he prayed and prayed. And when he saw his future wife, he said, that is who I'm going to marry. He said, that is the one right there. She fits all the description that I prayed for, blah, 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 blah. Bottom line is they got married. They got their own place. They are doing wonderful now, and they are such a beautiful couple. Oh my God, it's just so fascinating. So I'm waiting on his wife to say, yes, you can write that story up. I'm just waiting. So right now, he's helping people with their emergency housing vouchers and everything. It's just so fantastic.
Wonderful.
Okay. Thank you. Tori, can we confirm the next meeting is the 4th Thursday of October, the 28th? That's what we have on the agenda. Is that correct?
Yes, that will be fine.
But then in November and December, we'll have to float the meeting, which we don't need to discuss tonight. But we certainly don't want to meet on Thanksgiving Day. Just saying. Although it might be appropriate, but I don't think we are able to as a government entity. Okay. So I shared with everybody in the chat Kim's Instagram. And again, if you're new to Zoom, I don't know how anyone could be new to Zoom after 18 months of a pandemic. But if you want to, but if you want to save the chat, first thing you do is click on the chat and bring it up, and then you'll see where it says to, and whoever you can send it to, it probably says to Laura, to the host, but all the way to the right, you'll see 3 little dots. And if you click on the 3 little dots, you may click then on something that says save chat. And that way you can get the chat, all the things that we've been posting in the chat, you can save the chat on your own computer. And if that effort fails you, I'll be sending the chat to Tori. And so if you have a direct contact with Tori, just reach out to her. Otherwise, reach out to president@unnc.org and I can send you the whole chat.
Oh, that'll be spectacular. I appreciate that because my 3 dots are on this phone.
Oh, yeah. No, Tori, I'm going to email you the whole chat.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I appreciate it. Yeah, because I'm in motion.
Right.
Okay. Anything else, you or anyone? Final notes is 7:59.
Nothing for me.
Okay, we will adjourn at 8 o'clock. Everyone have a wonderful evening, and I'm glad you shared this time with us. Hi, bye,
Thank
Jesus.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.